Open the gates of your heart. To the dry lands of people's hurt souls, let love flood.
Welcome to the Citizens of the Globe podcast. My name is Michael Maltez, and I aim to break down the borders we create in our minds, one meaningful conversation at a time. Welcome back. This is my first episode since October, so it's been a minute, and that's okay because this is a little bit of a relaunching, and it's way more in alignment with the original intent and the evolving intent of this podcast. Today, I have my first guest, and I'm so grateful for our interaction in Ocean Beach and how it went about, and grateful for your downness to come and do this with me and
Of course.
restart. You know, you kind of gave me the push to restart this. His name is Orion McAllister. He's a very spiritual being on a spiritual mission to connect us. And I really resonated with his sign. I was walking down the Ocean Beach Farmers Market and just heard somebody saying and yelling, "Spread love, spread love, spread love." And I turned and I saw him, and his sign said, "Vibrate to the similarities, not the differences."
I have that one with me.
Yeah, let's...
Vibrate to the similarities, not the differences. To the deep marrow of the bone, everybody is a carbon-based being. Black-based carbon cultures. Scientifically, all of us. Darkness is the origin of all light, and daylight is counted by midnight at 12 a.m. The universe created variety of all things. Everybody has passed through the womb, and we all share mitochondrial DNA. We all have organs and a heart, and we all breathe oxygen. Racism is a foolish behavior. Racism is a systematic game. Do not engage in foolish behavior. Do not engage in foolish games.
Don't feed into the differences.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's all a game of separation.
The separation, the divide, it's all to control the mind. Absolutely. And that's what this is about. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at the logo, but a friend of mine, she drew it up and we collaborated on the vision. She's the artist, but she wanted it to be both of our image,
right.
And she asked me for some ideas, and I wanted the globe to be in there, but I knew I didn't want it to be... I wanted it to send a message, so I asked her to do Pangea instead of the separate continents, to kind of remind us that, we were once very close.
Yeah, we could all travel the entire world.
Just on our 2 feet. No airplanes, no nothing.
Free to roam in our neighborhoods.
Absolutely, yeah.
No such thing as borders. The only time we ever really defended each other or ourselves was when people were, immorally intruding on our property and our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so I think where my brain wants to go is what inspired this transformation. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think anybody sits here and does what you do, going to Ocean Beach, for your 8 weeks in a row.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Spreading love and positivity with signs. And
I've lived here 14 years. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's some story back there, and let's hear some of that background.
Man, well, quick story short, long story short, I should say. I'm originally from upstate New York. Both of my parents were very rebellious, very aggressive people. My dad was a felon. My dad was a very rebellious person at the time. Neo-Nazism, very ignorant, arrogant mindsets. He and my mother were, running across the country from the police. He was evading federal arrest of some sort. So came to upstate New York. They had me in hopes of, trying to figure things out. He got arrested. Mom was taking care of me. She wasn't the best mother, just on the streets, all that kind of stuff, drugs and everything, doing the best that she could with the lack of knowledge of motherhood that she had. But I know, and I know she'll heal this, is that I know she had a big love for me. I was her star child. I was the reason why she kept going. When I was 3 years old, my father got custody of me from her due to circumstances. I was left all alone while she was doing her thing. And, he got wind of it, did everything he could to get out of prison early off good behavior and all this kind of stuff, got custody of me. And then it was he and I for on and off from the age of 3 until about like 14. I was always in, my dad was a drug dealer, heroin addict, all this kind of stuff, but he was good. He was a con artist as well. Mm-hmm. And so he provided a good life, definitely, but not the best environment sometimes. There are moments where, he'd be traveling for months on end doing drug deals, and I'd be at a friend's house, or a family friend's house, hey, take care of my kid, like people who he trusted with me.
How old were you at this time?
The ages between, I'd say like good 8 and...
Oh, wow, okay.
Between the ages of like 8 and maybe like 14. Gotcha. I had a half-sister. We have different mothers that she was born when I was 7. And, we had sort of like that nice family life for a while. And then my dad's life and behavior and addictions kind of caught up with everybody. And so like disbanded that situation. Mm-hmm. And so then, it was me and my dad for the longest time, on and off, family friends' houses. I was never in a group home until 2009 when my dad had just hardcore continual overdoses. And it was like, well, the state was like, well, we need to take your child.
Yeah.
So
man.
CPS came by, and what sucked was my dad already had a plan. Hey, you're going to stay at so-and-so's house for a few months or whatever. I was like, okay, cool, no worries. At the time, I loved Taco Bell. That was the Mexican food we had in upstate New York. 6 hours from New York City,
Much better down here.
Yeah, and it's not, Tex-Mex I've had Tex-Mex too, and the reputation is true. It's not good.
Oh, okay.
For some people, everyone, that's a debatable topic, of course. But anyway.
Yeah.
Like Taco Bell was like the shit for me as a child. And so I'm about to go to my dad's friend's house to stay with him indefinitely for how long. Oh, until my dad gets better again, he'll come back, we'll have custody again, same cycle over and over and over. The day we were like, hey, you want to go get some Taco Bell? Like, yeah, sure. And like that moment we're about to walk out the door, you hear a knock at the door, and it's CPS. And they're like, hey, we need to take Orion. And I'm like, but I'm about to go get some Taco Bell. Like, oh, well, maybe the group home will take you to get Taco Bell sometime. I'm like, never did. Yeah, that was like a 6-month journey of being 2 group homes.
Yeah.
Got to pause for that one.
Yeah, that one was loud. The other one was
a little more subtle.
So 2 group homes?
Yeah, one I was the oldest in at the age of 12, 13. I was the oldest one. And that was daunting, because my life, I was never around stable households. I was around ghettos. I was around white ghettos, black ghettos. Mm-hmm. I was around everything. I was never around stability until, like, my sister was born, And so being around these children who, they have the same sort of background foundation of me, which is a lack of foundation. Mm-hmm. So I was able to relate a lot to these kids. I was able to help them out a lot, especially because they're younger than me. And then I went to a group home where I was the youngest out of older kids who were 17, 18, 19, sometimes court ordered to be there, mm-hmm. or running away from home, and because their parents are really bad and abusive and, they worked out with the state or something, or like they can stay there or be emancipated, whatever. That was interesting because I was the youngest, but I was like the most well-behaved. Mm. And despite the life that I lived, like something within me was always resilient. Something within me was always never allowing myself to be bitter, despite everything I went through, despite bullying, despite being tortured, being molested, being, and which was an interesting story. It was a female, and I was like another girl who was just around my age.
Yeah.
Random topic, but like we were hanging out in the basement watching a movie, and our parents were hanging upstairs, and I go, like, I'm just laying down on the couch, and she comes up and, starts touching me and getting on top of me and everything, pulling my pants down. I'm like, I don't know, maybe 7, and she's maybe like 9.
Oh, jeez.
And looking back in hindsight, it's like, oh man, like I feel bad for her. Like, what was she going through? What happened to her? To where that's an okay behavior for her to imitate.
That's a very noble, noble way to look at it.
I'm a big hindsight pondering type of person.
Yeah.
I reflect a lot. So yeah, like lived a very experienced life, you know.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
matured very young.
Well, absolutely.
And so because of that, it's like I have just infinite love because I've gone through the darkness. Because of my ex, I've learned a lot of how to cultivate myself out of the dark, because I realized more so than ever that I am the light. I'm the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm the one that moves forward. Mm-hmm. You know, and trying my best to express that to everybody else, because we forget that because we're in a real messed up society.
Absolutely. You have a superpower. I'm not just saying that like facetiously. Like
Thank
you
you.
asked, you know, there was something about you, like this resiliency in those group homes where you were the youngest, but somehow yet the most stable in that unstable environment. And
I'd always said that like I was the piece out of my parents' chaos. Because my dad was very, very rebellious and very aggressive. So was my mother. Like the first time they met, quick story. When they first met, my mom was just staying at their house to crash. You know,
Yeah.
I think it was like my uncle or him offered her a place, and then she refused to leave. And so then my dad was like, "You're gonna leave?" He's like, "No, I'm not." And they go, "I'm gonna make you leave." She's like, "No, you're not." And they got in a little tussle. She threw a stool at him, and then like which according to her, they fell in love. So,
quite the,
you know, they're very
love
rebellious.
story.
Yeah, you know, they're very, very, very intense people.
Yeah, but it's that same resiliency that brings you to doing this.
Exactly.
I wanted to be seen. And it's the same resiliency that like brings you out here. That's very interesting. When we met, you briefly met my mom. My mom's out here right now. She's gonna start the beginning of this road trip with me.
Oh,
and
she's gonna be going with you.
Yeah. She's.
I love, man. My grandma and I took a few road trips every now and again.
Oh, that's
We went
awesome.
to LA, and then we just ran up and down the coast every now and again. Yeah,
Connected.
before the dementia started kicking real hard, or started even.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you cherish it, man. Cherish it. That's traveling with parents is a rare thing, because when you realize that not very many people actually have stable childhoods and stable households, you cherish it. Like my ex had a fairly stable like household. You know, dad drank a little bit. You know, but like what father doesn't. You know, but comparatively to her life and my life, white picket fence, very very comforted.
Yeah.
You know, she was very rebellious, which is very hard on her parents, but it cultivated her to be very spiritual, very outgoing, very I know what I'm going to do with my life.
Right out
sort of person.
Right out of the parents' house.
And right out of the gate, like she was as a child, she didn't want to go to church, she didn't want to go to school, like had that inherent rebellious part of her. And luckily, and I'm very proud of her that she's continually cultivating that.
That's awesome.
Because I can't talk crap on exes. As you're younger, yeah, of course. Don't get me wrong. Go through my Facebook post a few years back. I'm such some dumb shit. Like girls say dumb, stupid stuff when they're 9, 13, 14 years old on the internet for the first time.
Yeah, it's part of the evolution, though.
Exactly.
You got to look back on those things and see where you are at now and how you're able to like present yourself and compassionately think about others, even when they've done you wrong. Like I'm sure, despite everything of your childhood, like, and that's like childhood. Like when you were first talking, I was like, oh, maybe he's like 15, 16. No, you were like a child.
I was born too much premature. I had a hernia. I was in an incubator, steroids. My whole life, whole life is a struggle.
But
resilience.
But to look back on it, I can tell in the way you speak, like it's nothing but compassion and love for your parents, despite everything.
Despite it all, I've learned to really, truly forgive them.
Absolutely.
Especially my father, because he would, he got out of that neo-Nazism very, very, because it's prison. What are you going to do? And started going to meetings outside of prison and all that kind of stuff. Started bringing me because, I'm going to bring my son to, like, where I go. I can't leave him home alone. And then it started influencing me as a 4-year-old fucking boy, at the end of, like, a meeting. And my dad's like, oh, yeah, no, fuck this. Because I'm not, he would call himself more of a separatist, not a racist. He just believes people should be with their own race, but he intermingles. Gotcha. In a sense to where his closest friend is essentially another uncle of mine who as a child I named him Big Black Bob. Very tall black man, full of tattoos. And he would even say, there's no racist bone in your dad's body. People are fucking crazy. And it's like, Andrew? Like that guy with all the tattoos and the swastikas and this? And he's like, yeah, it's just Irish pride. What are you talking about? Like, this man helped my dad through withdrawals. This man helped my dad, survive, stay alive. Refused to buy my dad's drum set because he knew my dad was going to use the money for drugs, despite knowing he could buy the drum set and save it for me. He's like, I can't do that, Andrew. I'm sorry.
So, question I want to clarify.
Yes.
Andrew is your father,
yes.
And his friend was like the one tatted up with swastikas.
No. My dad was the one with swastikas,
Okay.
and then his friend was just black guy, tall, with tattoos.
Saying there's not a racist bone.
There's not a racist bone in your
body.
dad's body. Exactly. When people would come up to him and be like, "You know Andrew? Like, why are you hanging out with him?" And it's like, because he's the coolest dude ever. Like, no, he's not racist. No, he just has pride in his heritage. Like, there's a difference. Learn it. Like,
yeah. That's something that's lost in today's fast-paced, like, social media blip society. That there's good in everybody.
And I want to clarify
people.
Real quick that over the years, my father, with all the heroin and everything, he's gone out of that mindset. Of course, he has the tattoos, but he's turned into, like, because of the karma. I've realized, like, he's living his karma as we speak, to where he had a hardcore overdose. He's not so mentally there, but he's a child now, in a sense, to where he's like I call him, like, he's a tattooed Buddha. He's really big, he's really heavy now, but he's like, hey Ryan, man, I got my games, got my porn, I got my weed, I got a place to live, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm happy, I'm content.
Yeah.
And for me, with the life that I know he's lived, and the people who I know who used to come after him and message me on Facebook, hey, where's your dad? He's safe, and I'm happy that he's alive. I'm happy that he loves me. I'm happy that I love him. I'm happy that, that he's here, and that he couldn't be more happy to be alive.
Would you say he's, like, evolving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also because of, like, he has little brain damage because
Yeah.
of white spots and everything, the drugs, and he'd make a joke. He's like, Orion, I have CRS. And I was like, what's that? Or what's that, Dad? It's like, I can't remember shit. I was like, all right, Dad, there you go, yeah. And it's true. Like, I would ask him, hey, do you remember when we did this or did this? And, like, I don't remember anything, Orion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I carry these memories. Damn it.
But despite all that, he's still evolving.
Man, yeah.
It's a
beautiful.
choice.
Exactly.
It is a choice.
He's like, my ex met him for the first time when we were traveling around last year, and like, wow, like, your dad's awesome. Like, I would have never thought, until you see the tattoos, you would have never thought. You would have thought he was just some cool punk dude with tattoos, shaved head, and he just cracks jokes all day. When he starts talking, he starts remembering. But if you ask him something, he can't quickly, he can't recollect. But he's very just humbled, just like he's kind of spaced out. But it's a part of me. It's just like that's that enlightenment part of him, where it's like he's finding where he's at.
Which is interesting that you let, like, the conversations led here, because now in, like, my brain, what's swirling around is prior to starting the recording for the podcast, we were talking about the systems put in place to keep us in those divided mindsets.
Yes.
And, you look at the crack epidemic and how,
CIA
the CIA put it in the black and low economic communities across, America. It wasn't just like black communities, but it was targeted.
Yeah.
And
the whole, like, the AIDS epidemic, where they were the administrators of Nixon and Reagan, they were actually happy that AIDS was killing homosexuals. They were cheering it. They were having parties on it. It was documented. And then until people within their administration started getting AIDS because of their hidden sexual, homoerotic fantasies and ritual bullshit.
Absolutely.
And they're like, oh, okay, now we got to start a program to stop this. And it's like, no one pays attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not meant to be paid attention to. It's not. That's not the funded narrative. So.
Yeah, and it really is funded. Like,
you gotta follow the money. That's not a false. That's cliches are rooted in truth. Sayings are rooted in truth for a reason.
Yeah.
So follow the money, and you'll find out who's really gaining and profiting from this.
Absolutely.
At the expense of lives, at the expense of human resources, and at the expense of, human resources and human life, or natural resources, I should say. Sorry.
Question.
Yes.
Ignorance is bliss.
Sadly, yes. For those who are ignorant. But for those who are aware, seeing it is very sad. It's very disheartening.
Because it's a false reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, and because we're all born into it, and so you grow out of it, and then you try to help people who are still in it grow out of it. But you have to respect it. If people want to stay asleep or just they want to pay the bills, want to pay the taxes, all that, cool. Love them. They have all their sovereign conscience, free conscience right to do that. So you have to respect that, but also you can't stop the mission. You can't just keep trying.
No, yeah.
You can't be enforceful. You have to have the balance of morality. You can't enforce your opinions on people and be like, you must live like this. Because
then that's social, or not even socialism, but like that's just dictatorship and fascism.
Authoritarianism, all that. it's not natural.
Uh-huh.
You know, like animals, like in the animal kingdom, like you look in the primates, you know, it's survival of the fittest, you know, Darwinism sort of thing, right? Brute alpha male is the big leader all the time. Wrong. When you study primates, what I believe is the chimpanzees, or which ones? The primates are the most
Social?
no, related to us. I believe it's chimpanzees.
Orangutans? No.
One of those. But either way, there's a primate groups
Uh-huh.
in primates in general.
Yeah.
The leader that is like the brute alpha, you know, always being just tough, he doesn't rule for very long, because just two less tough, less brutal people can take him out and be better rule, and just let someone else be a ruler.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with this in this system. What people don't understand, or at least forget, is that change in numbers. There's a thing called I think it's the 1.3% rule, the 3% rule,
I've heard of this.
where it's like 3% of any population goes against the majority. Change is inevitable, and that is a fact throughout history. It has not changed.
Mm-hmm.
In California, like, you know, they're trying to do like the reopen California, trying to stop all the mandates and all this kind of stuff, which I don't want to get into the politics, is, you know, but for that sake, it's like if like 1.3 million people out of like this, or like 10 million people out of the 300 million that are living in California, so just that small majority, just 3%, were to go against, you know, just the administration of California. It doesn't just the administration in general.
Right.
That change would happen, to be inevitable. If all those millions of people stopped working, if all those millions of people just refused, just like how in Canada, where they had all the fucking truckers, the Freedom Convoy, you know, which was propagandized against, and there's Nazis and this and that, which is not true. It was all people, working class individuals.
Yeah,
You know?
no, absolutely. And, you know, what's crazy is I was having a conversation with my mother, and we were talking about change and voting and elections and all that. And despite, you know, the problems with our democracy here,
Right.
2020 had the highest voter turnout of the 21st century.
I remember that.
And it was still just
another,
less than half the entire American population.
And then in the funny grand scheme of things, nothing really got done. Like, politics, I can't remember which rapper who said it, but politics is a pile of tricks. You know, and I live by that principle. I look into it. I don't vote. I don't support government. I support sovereign beings. At the end of the day, it's like authority is a false claim. Land and borders are false claims. Sorry, it doesn't matter if it's written out on a piece of paper. I've said it 1,000 times. It's my land. It's not. It's the Earth's. It's all of ours. We need to be, and that's the radical idea.
So
sadly.
Okay, no, I hear you, because I'm all about the same thing. Drawing from another conversation I had with my brother and sister in Texas, they kind of, you know, like I'm spreading the same ideas, and they were looking at me, they were like, but Michael, you're going to be fighting that war for the rest of your life.
It's worth it.
It's 100% worth it. And I told him, you know, like, how do you not, like, they were saying, how do you not get tired? How do you not get burnt out? Like, what keeps you motivated? Yeah. And I was saying, you know, that's what, like, Buddhism and mindfulness practices, and cultivating a community of people who will reinforce those ideas time and time again, who will listen to you say the same thing to breathe life into your mission.
Yes, to inspire.
Inspire, exactly. Yeah. I think where, I don't even say we differ, I'm curious, how do we achieve that? Understanding that the land is a shared resource, not even a resource. It's part of us. How do we understand that it's one being, right? It is us within the current system that we're in. How do we, because, I mean, I've gone down this rabbit hole before, you know,
me too. It's fun.
3%. And then what happens, you know, like the oppressed become the oppressor, essentially. You know, how do we keep the mission pure and make sure that we don't just repeat the cycle, kind of like the cycles you were talking about in your childhood?
I think it first starts, the foundation would be, let's say, like a community mutual aid, relying on neighbors first, realizing that this construct is man-made. When it comes to borders, when you take away the border line, there's nothing else there. It's just land. We've constructed borders, so that reinforces it's an idea that we've created. Natural. There's no borders in the natural world. Everything synchronizes. Everything blends together. Like you'll see, things will slowly go from a forest to shrubbery to desert, and then back to shrubbery, and then the forest again, and then mountain range. Like it blends, And so, trying to look back at the world not from a man-made perspective, which is hard to do because that's what we've covered the earth with.
Yeah.
But I think it first starts with the constructions that we do have, which is a community, which would be starting with a community mutual aid, doing your best to, if you're in a lighthearted, nourishing community or neighborhood, or even aspects of the ghetto, which they're doing. It's cool. This is guerrilla gardening in L.A. It's either L.A. or Chicago by a man who used to be an ex-gangster who's like, man, the food that they have is shit, and we need to start growing our own food, and they're not caring for the black community enough, and so, all right, I'm going to instigate ways to help people learn how to grow their own food in their own backyards or in their own small alleyways or their balconies or anywhere, just so they can have their own food, so they don't have to go to the store and get shit.
Yeah, I heard Oakland did the same thing because I'm from the Bay Area, and
that may be the same. That may be the same man I'm talking about. I wish I remembered his name because his face is picture perfect in my mind right now.
Yeah, they.
But guerrilla gardening. That's what I know. It's either he either goes by guerrilla gardener, but I know it's called guerrilla gardening.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of like guerrilla warfare. It's like you do it wherever and you can make it work.
Yeah, they. What the guy I'm thinking of, I forget his name, but he convinced, or not even convinced, he talked to his neighbors and showed them another way. So they broke down their walls. Broke down those walls behind their backyards. Yeah. And back-to-back neighbors created this shared community space of gardening. But it's not just that. There's spaces for, just like recreational activities and everything. And it looked really beautiful. I hear you.
That's community mutual aid. Relying on your neighbors, trying to be open, trying to hopefully, and if there is bad neighbors, of course, don't fully avoid them. Just try to help, try to heal, try to at least lend a helping hand. There's like grumpy old man down the street that yells at all the kids all the time. Well, have a little bit of tolerance and courage to talk to him and just, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? You need any help with anything? Or why don't you like the kids on your lawn? Like, is there anything I can help to prevent that more? Like, try to break these barriers of separation as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
So that way we can commune. So that way we can have block parties again. So that we can have cul-de-sac gatherings. And that way we can be like, hey, I'm going out of town for a week. If you see something, can you grab your gun and, make sure they don't rob my house? Yeah, sure, I got you, man. Instead of cowering in your house, calling the cops, waiting 10, 15 minutes, an hour for them to come by when you're just watching someone steal shit, taking photos, and then file a report and never get heard, never hear anything back, and never get your stuff back. So, and a lot of times this happens more in like smaller towns in the Midwest or in the South or Upper East and Upper West parts of the country, like Washington, Wyoming, Idaho areas, more like Maine, New York, Pennsylvania, the Florida area, Texas and Mississippi, all the southern states, they have their niches amidst all the racist hicks. Beautiful suburban areas, and it's a beautiful. The good thing about the South is it's a very small majority that they're like that racist, hillbilly type, and even within those towns, it's not everybody in those towns, it's just still even a smaller majority.
But
you got,
that small majority gets the
attention, gets the negativity, gets the drama and the publicity and the propaganda.
And then we create these
this
like
is what the South is like all the time.
Mind.
Yeah, it's just like no, it's not like that. You have to go down there. It's very few people, and most people actually, they don't participate in that racism stuff. They actually don't like, don't go down there. Like, don't go to this restaurant, because the owners are this or that. And like, there's a lot of inherent mutual aid, in a lot of these smaller towns because they know the governments can't depend on that. Especially now, in the last few years, you're really starting to realize that more.
Yeah.
And I think with the whole border thing, back to that it starts with that. It starts with breaking individual borders of separation.
Absolutely. When you had said that and talking about, just go talk to the old man who doesn't want their kids on their lawns, I was thinking it just... to break down these physical borders outside of ourselves, we have to break down those borders.
As hard as it can
we
feel.
Create.
Because we like to put scenarios in our minds. We like to try to rationalize things. We like to try to excuse ourselves from putting in efforts to things that are risky. But without risk, there's no reward. And without going, we'll never know.
Yeah.
Like, that's the scary thing. Like love. Okay, let's put that on the table for a moment.
Love it.
Like, we all want love, but sometimes we feel like we don't deserve it, or we feel like it's too good to be true, or like, oh, I can't put it out there because of a distance thing, or because I feel them more as a friend, and I don't want to ruin the friendship, but I do really love them. And it's just like, go. If you have that inherent drive to love that person, risk it, because at the end of the day, you may regret it. If you feel it, express it. Don't suppress it, or you might regret it.
Yeah.
That's the thing I always go with. Like,
absolutely.
And the best thing is, if you have a friend that you feel like you love, maybe they feel that way too. And the best way to have a long-lasting relationship is to cultivate a friendship first anyhow.
And friendship
and let it
and
naturally
communication.
Grow. And that's the thing I've learned with men. As learning from anecdotal experience, learning lessons, and then also experiential just observation, is that, like, side note, women have the most at stake when it comes to finding a mate. When it comes to, like, they carry womb, they're very, like, men are very tricky. They can fall very easily for the bad boy type because of the illusion of protection, because the illusion of, oh, they can protect me, they can, do this and that, but then there's an offset of, well, he may be verbally and physically aggressive if he doesn't get his way from you. And then that's not good. And so women have this sort of tug of war, because they want a man that's dependable and loyal and able to, provide, but they also want a man that's strong and can protect them. But they all don't want a man that's overly aggressive. So they want a man that can be violent and that has the capability, but is humbled enough and aware enough to suppress it and know the difference.
Yeah. To choose peace.
Exactly.
And not be harmless.
Exactly. And not be harmful. And only be harmful when it comes to danger. If either they're in danger, you're in danger, or a child, or anyone else. Otherwise, there's no violence.
No, I'd like to clarify what I said.
Yeah, of course.
To choose peace.
Choose peace.
Because you're capable of harm.
Okay, thank you.
Not be harmless.
Thank you. I love that.
We don't want to be harmless.
Thank you. That was
we want to make sure, like, it's our choice.
That.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then another thing on that is, like, what was I thinking of?
Sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate the clarity. You want a man that's willing to protect them as well. Oh, and for the men, out there, it's like, I've noticed that I've seen women post on the internet and even heard them speak to me online, and or in person. It's like, it's really hard to find a male friend that just doesn't want to have sex. And it's like, I'm sorry, but the truth is, due to our biology of millions of years of seeking to procreate to have the species survive, almost, if you're an attractive woman, almost every single male friend you have will have an urge or at least a thought. But the difference is, as a woman knows, but men don't, I feel, a lot of the time they confuse it. Is that what you want to do as a man is to not try to have sex with every single beautiful woman you see. You want to be friends with them first, because that cultivates trust from the woman to you, and then an openness and the potential to where if she actually finds you attractive, the ball's in her court to then choose and interact with you. Instead of you trying to force your way, you're trying to flirt and convince and, because flow naturally.
It should be conscious decision, not this chase.
Hey, choose me because of this, because of this, because of
Right.
this. It's like, no, just be who you are, and if they choose you, they choose you. And if not, guess what? You have a genuine feminine friend that men need.
Right.
We need more of that balance. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, no, so getting into a little bit of, like, my journey.
Please.
I was in therapy, and about 6 months in is when I started to really do some, like, deep work, and I started to realize, like, because before that I was like, I'll go to therapy to see if there's things wrong with me. I had a lot of ego. I was like, what?
Yeah, sure, there's something wrong.
Yeah. And 6 months in, like, I started to really break down my walls, and one of the questions I asked my therapist was, like, I don't like how much I sexualize women. I don't want to be driving down the street and be, like, instantly attracted.
Looking at a butt. Like,
Right.
I want to look at eyeballs. I want to look at eyeballs, not
see the
booty.
person. And,
Yeah,
you know, my
exactly.
therapist helped me out a little bit, and she reinforced, like, that's partly, like you said, like natural biological
Especially with
chemicals.
the testosterone. Like, I tell women, it's like, you know, like women who, when they're older, like after menopause, sometimes they go for testosterone treatment to help them balance themselves out.
Their hormone, okay.
Yeah, and or people who are transitioning. They have anecdotal experiences of like, oh my God, I understand what it's like to be a man now. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for them. Like they have all this testosterone revving through them all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. Like all the sexual thoughts that women would start having and the urges and like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually attracted. Like, whoa, what's going on here? Like all these crazy sexual thoughts, or even being attracted to females that they've, you know, that they would never be attracted to, or just urges for their lover that they've never had before.
And it's like that
it's
drive,
a
that
big
primal
fire.
drive.
Exactly. And you get to feel that from, this is what we feel at times 10. Since the time we're 9 years old, even for some men.
Yeah,
you know, all the way till the day we die.
When it starts to ramp
It
up.
doesn't stop.
No, absolutely. And this holds true for all your neurochemical like processes. We as humans attach our feelings to our thoughts and our actions. And that's what exploring this sexual objectification and this like me feeling like overstimulated all the time in terms of like sex. I read a book by, I forget his name, but I'll link it. It was Sex Addiction 101. And while I never felt like I was addicted, I did feel like this compulsivity, and I didn't want that compulsivity.
Right.
And so I learned, you know, it took me a long time, like a year, which can be a long time, cannot, but that I did not have to attach those drives, those impulses to my actions. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, sure, I felt that urge to look at that butt. I didn't have to though now.
Right.
Because I had a moral code that I wanted to live by, which is like I want to treat all beings with respect.
Exactly.
And not see them as an object, not see them for a purpose, but see them for who they are.
Exactly.
And that has really changed my life a lot. And I've been able to do a lot of what you've said, even with people who.
Excuse me.
No, you're totally fine. People who maybe I had started out with those.
It's okay.
With those intentions, I've been able to redefine our relationships and our friendships into,
Beautiful.
you know, that solid foundation you were talking about. And what's amazing is that's where trust is built.
Yes, exactly.
And you feel safe to explore love with somebody because you know it's not built on just primal chemicals. You know,
urges, biology.
Yeah. And it's a conscious choice. I love that.
It's like I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was like, in a sense, you know, it wasn't really an argument. It was just like figuring out opinions, I guess. And it was like she's like, you choose who you fall in love with, and I was like, do you though? Like emotionally, because of myself, emotionally, I love everybody, and then romantically, it'll just happen. Wow, I want to really romantically love this woman. You know, so emotionally, it's not a choice; it's just inherent. But then with the physical aspect, yeah, you choose who you fall in love with because then you act upon it. You choose to act upon it, and you choose not to.
Yeah.
You know, so
I like that.
It's the polarity of it all. You know, you both choose and you don't choose. You emotionally, we can't always control our emotions because they're not us; they're part of us. So, because we're beyond our physical bodies, we're beyond the mind. This is all like some sort of radio or a conduit for energy and experience and vibrations and frequencies to experience themselves.
Yes.
And we use our brains and our brain stems and our nerves and everything to cultivate that out, to express that out and make it physical, whether it be for our words or our actions or even our imaginations and creations.
Controversial question.
Yes.
Do we choose abuse? If we choose love, right? Do we choose abuse?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a point that we can. Yeah, I think it's when we become comfortable with it, when we feel like this is what we deserve, and there's sometimes we can be abused enough in our lifetimes to where when we're not being abused, we feel like we're not worthy of being alive, or not willing to be worthy of even love. Like women who are attached to abusive relationships because they feel like the violence shows them, oh, well, they love me because they could protect me, and they're being physical on me because they're teaching me, or they're adjusting me, or, you know, I was wrong, or it's like, no, and absolutely no. It's just like, that's not love. That's not a man who wants to protect you. It's a man who wants to control you. You know, or that's a parent that wants to, you know, live their football fantasies through you, dude. Like, don't just go to high school football just because your dad failed college football.
Oh, man.
Or, hey, honey, don't fucking go for the rich guy just because your mom wants you to go for the rich guy just because it made her life easier because she didn't want to work too hard, or because she did work really hard and regretted it, and now she's married to a rich man and can live her life freely.
Yeah.
Don't do what your parents want you to do.
Yeah.
It's like there's a difference between what our parents really would want for us and what our parents want for them through us. It's a hard thing to decipher sometimes because, well, our parents are our first influence, and
they give us the rule book.
Yeah, why would they discern to us that this is their selfish, what they want? Like, this is that they want to live their dreams through us.
Yeah.
They're going to make it seem like it's our fantasies. They're going to make it seem like it's what we want. You want to go to football practice, right, Billy? You right? Wink, wink. It's like, yeah, Dad, fine. I want to go. When the kid already knows at that age, it's because the dad wants him to do it because the dad likes football.
But they want to make their parents proud and they want to fulfill their dreams.
Really, that boy maybe just wants to dance. Maybe that boy wants to play music. Maybe that boy wants to play basketball. Maybe he doesn't want to play football. Maybe he doesn't like being tackled. Maybe he wants to jump really high.
Kids is a big one.
You know, like, dang.
Yeah. Maybe your child doesn't want to have a child. Maybe
right?
They, you know?
Exactly. You know, it's like,
maybe they don't want to sit down
my
and
ex,
create that marriage.
My ex is like, I don't want, you know, a traditional marriage. I don't want kids. And it's like, hey, I want to get married, but like a ceremonial thing to be cool, like a shamanistic or like a different culture, you know. Maybe just sign the papers just for the legal thing. But we don't need no big church or this or that. Or like kids, it's like, yeah, I'd like a family, but I wouldn't mind having at least maybe one of my own kids, but also I would love to adopt. I'd love to help a child who's already here without their own consent. Like, because no kid we didn't ask the child, hey, is it okay if I, you know, ejaculate and make sure that she isn't...
Create life real quick.
Can I create you? You know, it's like, I mean, there's fun spiritual aspects of, like, yes, your child does choose the parent and karma and beautiful lessons like that. And I do, I subscribe to those sort of theories and ideologies because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. It's like, because with my own life, it makes sense that I would have chosen the chaotic life that I lived in order to cultivate this resilient spirit to show that, hey, you don't have to grow bitter just because you had a bitter childhood. You can grow better. Yeah. And it's possible. You're okay. You're here right now.
Absolutely. I agree. Reflecting on my life and what I went through, I would not have changed anything because it's gotten me here to this moment, talking to another very conscious being and spreading, you know, this message, this shared message that we both feel very deeply in our hearts. And very crazy.
I want to touch on one of the questions about what you told me, what really, like, the core inspiration for this, of what I'm doing.
Yes.
You know, it started off, I bought this years ago because I was always into spirituality and detachment and just wanting to, I always had the idea to do this. And you know, at the time, my ex and I were together, and it was just, okay, I'm going to buy this, and it's going to be an idea. Once I have the time to do it, you know, I'll do it. And then we started traveling and all this and that, and we came back, and, you know, it was amazing. We traveled for a whole year from February 2021 to February 2022. We lived on homesteads in Texas. So we lived in a native Airbnb in Texas. You know, we traveled to New Orleans. We drove all the way to Florida. We lived there for 3 months in a nudity place. It was really fun. It was a little sketchy, so we left after a while. You know, like, it was all under the table rent. And, like, you know, the guy was kind of a hardcore New York City harbor guy, shit talker, like. You know, like, it was fun, but it was like, yeah, we need to get the fuck out. And so we decided that then from there, she found us a wild blueberry farm to work on in Maine for like 2 months. Because the real blueberry season is only like 2 to 3 months long in America. That's why all the blueberries year round are mostly from are from all different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, I think it's mid-year, you'll see blueberries from like the USA. But this place, it's wild blueberry, so it's native to the area in Maine.
In Maine.
And
Yeah,
so-
I heard it's beautiful up there. Acacia
man,
National Park.
We were there right in at summertime.
Oh,
Peak
nice.
spring, summer, I think.
It's not too humid up there because it's pretty far north, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the humidity is pretty temperate.
Okay.
Compared to Florida.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah. And then, then we went to upstate New York to see my family, and I was able to see my mom for the third time in my life. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because she left when I was 3.
Okay.
In order to better herself, because she knew she wasn't a fit mom. And then I saw her again when my grandmother got custody of me, and that was just like a brief, few minutes, hugged her in court, and that was it. Exchanged numbers. And then the actual second time, like the real time I actually went to go visit her, was I was maybe 18, 19.
Yeah.
And I was for a good 2 weeks.
Okay.
And she lived in upstate New York in the woodsy countryside area, so it's very beautiful. Lived off the land. She's a prepper, hardcore anti-government kind of stuff.
Ah, gotcha.
She's also a very spiritual woman, so it's even though all the hardcore rebellion of her young age and on the streets and drugs and stuff, she was very rooted in spirit. She loves Mother Earth. Always calls her Mother Spirit. Calls me her star child. You're here for a reason. Very into gems and her native culture, because my great fourth great grandmother was Mohawk Indian.
Okay.
Where's the DNA? But I believe all of our ancestry is within our DNA, no matter what. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. Therefore, our ancestors are watching us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've always resonated with the native culture ever since I was a child, for some reason. And then my mom told me a long time ago, well, it's in you. I'm like, okay. I was in Texas, and I was in the homestead that we were at was on native land. And I had visions during meditations of me being born into a native hut with the shaman in front and the woman being held by the husband, and she was crouched. She was, because the real birthing process is you're squatting. You shouldn't be laying down. It's bad for the back. It's bad for everything. Modern day hospitals are literally traumatizing to the body. And it's another reason why they tear a lot. It's because the gravity of the baby's tearing through between the canal and the ass. So, but when you're squatting, it's less of that.
Okay.
It's still possible if the baby's really wide. It's but it wouldn't be as bad as when you're fucking laying there and you have that gravity forcing you down.
Yeah, it's just all your muscles.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So anyway, and so they had I could feel myself being born through the womb, and she was crouched out and being held by the husband, and the shaman was in front dancing, doing his thing with his mask, and the rest of the tribe was inside of the hut, shoulder to shoulder like this, just dancing and chanting, and it felt very it was it felt like they're all masks on, but I could tell it was just the distortion of their faces, because this is I could tell this is a very old ancestral memory. And then weeks later,
question: Did you do anything specific to bring that memory?
I was just meditating.
You were just meditating.
Just meditating.
What did that look like for you?
Oh man, very translucent visions. It was almost like a grainy, ethereal dream state.
Yeah, laying down.
No, I was sitting lotus position on top of a exposed outside deck overlooking just the valleys and the forests and everything.
Yeah. I only ask because I've had a similar kind of experience. Very native. I want to say it was Central America, so
very nice.
I do have native blood in me myself, indigenous. I want to say Central American, so maybe Mayan culture.
Beautiful.
And I have a very similar vision in a meditative state that I was in, and it was at the end of my life though. I was old, and my entire family that I had cultivated was around me in a hut or a teepee, and it just felt
there's
very.
There's no coincidences to that.
Yeah.
The fact that you have the same similar experience, but at
yeah.
Whew.
It's crazy.
I love ancient cultures.
Yeah.
Especially indigenous ones, because even the ones from all around the world, they have the similarities. The way the pyramids are built, the way some of the separate drawings of the same deities have similarities. The pyramids aligned with certain constellations all over the world. Why is that?
How?
How do they know? It's they all talk about beings in the sky or a war of galactic craziness that's going on that we can't see. But, if you're in a shamanistic sort of mind state, you can see these things. Absolutely. Mushrooms or LSD or peyote or ayahuasca, things that come from the earth,
That's probably my next mission.
Nice, beautiful.
Ayahuasca,
beautiful. I haven't yet. I've done acid, And
Okay.
sadly, of course, you have your mishaps of analogs and bullshit, but mushrooms is definitely very grounded, but it's a very intense experience because it's dealing with you. It's Earth. We are mushrooms. Like, we have mycelium and blockchains of our DNA.
Mycelium networks
everywhere.
mimic, like, almost
neural
one-to-one the neurological connections.
So
that we make in our
microdosing,
brains, yeah.
microdosing actually grows your neurons.
Okay.
So does macrodosing, but
Yes.
but that comes at the expense of the hardcore trip.
Yes.
But microdosing,
Yes.
you can have just like a little bit of a cap or a stem and not feel anything, but maybe have a heightened sense of awareness, a heightened sense of sight and hearing, but no,
A little more connected.
Maybe a tiny bit of translucency. You can see color a little bit better.
It's a little more vibrant.
But your pupils aren't crazy dilated.
You're not
exposed to the world that you're
Right.
tripping. Like,
Yeah. I just watched Fantastic Fungi.
yes. Oh
And-
God, I love that. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I saw that when it came out with my
Yeah,
ex, dude.
my brother had
Ooh.
recommended it to me and my mom, and so we were sitting there watching it, and the beginning talks about the mycelium networks, and
Yep.
they were talking how closely it relates to the brains, and then my mom was talking about it's
survives the vacuum of space.
interesting.
It's been found. Mycelium's been found on asteroids. That's why the theory that
It came.
that it's extraterrestrial, that we're technically extraterrestrials because we adapted. Mycelium came and it created all life, and they just evolved from that.
And that's what. Yeah. Interesting.
When you look at the body, you really look at the body. Okay, it's stem, and then boop, a mushroom head. You look at the penis,
Oh.
it's a mushroom head. Like you look at
Interesting.
the
Spores
actual,
come out of it.
You look you look at the inside of a vaginal canal. It's like whoop, and then boom, like a mushroom.
Yeah.
It's there's no coincidence.
Interesting.
The
I
stone,
love that.
that's why I like the stone Dave theory. It's really fun.
Yeah. I haven't delved too deep into it, but
more of the. I feel like it's starting to become less of a theory and more of a hopefully a proven thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just the evidence we look for. But what my mom was talking about was, she was like, we go down into the ground, and as the documentary explains, like fungus decomposes our body, and we go back to the earth, and then out of that, the mushroom sprouts, and the life cycle kind of begins again. What I was
Wow.
making a connection with when she said that was that, well, if the mycelium networks look like, our neuronal networks, it's a theory. Is it possible? It's a hypothesis. It's a question that those mycelium networks contain the memories, memories doesn't fully suffice what I'm trying to say,
I think
but
I'm gonna blow your mind.
the
after that
ancestral
question.
kind of like, and then when we take the mushrooms, we open up to their experiences, and we can feel and understand more, because that's what I experience when I'm on mushrooms. Like, I understand more. I'm more connected. These walls in my mind, they all come down, and I feel like I have almost like an avatar state from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You're basically playing God for yourself.
Yeah.
Which is really fun because there's a theory that God is, because I don't subscribe to religions, I just love the ideas. That God, there's a fun little theory. Okay, God is infinity, right? So if you're experiencing infinity, that gets boring after a while because you can do everything all the time. So why wouldn't you just experience yourself in infinite finitude?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so in other words, God exploded himself to create the entirety of the universe in an infinite manner in order to experience finite material existence.
Yeah.
Because all material transforms.
Like we're fractured.
Like
taking
God created us in his
glass and
image. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like to think about it like that.
I do like that. And so I've heard this come about, which was, the more...
I want to get back to the mushroom thing afterwards.
Oh, yeah. The more we, dig deeper or go out, right? The more we learn that it's like... It's infinite, in both directions. And it's this question that I always play with myself. It's like, when is enough, Michael? When do you stop looking for answers? When do you just accept what reality is?
When you start putting in action.
What do you mean by that?
Let's say in the psychedelic sense, we go to these places because maybe we have a situation we want to deal with internally, emotionally, spiritually. We want to figure out how to deal with it or maybe understand it.
Yes.
It's going to give us the answers, but it's up to us to act upon those answers outside of that state in order to implement them. Integration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like when is it enough seeking, and then when is it time for doing?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times so many people go in there for answers, and then they come out and they're like, I'm so confused. It's because you're not doing what they're meant to be telling you to do, which is to come here for reflection and stay in the reality that you're born into for the action of the progress. And a lot of people get stuck.
Lose that.
We think that the action and all the progress is in the mind state, and it's
in
not.
The experience
it's in the action state.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I connect that with my view of therapy. You know, you can have the best therapist, and that hour-long session tells you everything you need to know about what you need to do in your life. But if you lack the mental fortitude, the willingness to put that in action with your actual life and your relationships, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes after you get out the door, it's just gone.
Yeah, I have a really good friend of mine, and we're exploring love and everything, and she does this really amazing thing, which is she takes notes, like not just with her therapist, but like I've never even had that thought to sit down and take notes. But even when we talk, like in a conversation like this, she'd like pull out her notebook and take some notes.
I love that.
And it's
I
like,
love that.
wow.
Oh man, I hope to find that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Wow,
it's an amazing practice, and I love that she does it.
Yeah, because you really remember, and you're able to like really, like, okay, this is who this person is.
Yes.
You know, and then you're able to like reflect on that, and then you're able to like, oh, they told me about this. Oh, I'm going to give them a gift based on this, or I'm going to go, you know, give them a video based on this. Or I'm just gonna, oh, cool. And I never thought about something like that. Cool. Let me look at it for myself, and then I can indulge in them more. So it's like, hey, you told me about this the other day, and I looked into it for myself, and I found this out. What did you know about this too? Like, you know, it's beautiful. That's awesome, man. I hope that cultivates continually. Man. I hope that continues to cultivate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
It's a great practice she does, and I love it. I hope to find some version of that for myself that works and fits for me in my life.
Because we all inspire each other. That's really cool.
Yeah, I love how you were talking about the how it allows you to make even deeper connections, right? Just inquiring deeper.
Exactly.
You know, like having the notebook.
There's always more about yourself.
Right.
There's always more about the self, and the other is infinite. You know, it's an onion layer that continues to peel. The core is never ending. The core is always expanding or shrinking because we're always finding more or expanding more.
Yeah, I before I came here, I was a little bit nervous because, like, you know, it's been
I've never done a podcast.
Yeah, and it's been months since I like actually got here and recorded. You know, I had episodes in the bank that I never released, and I sat there with myself, and I journaled, and I haven't journaled in like a month, and so I was like, you know, just write it out.
Yeah.
And I figured out what was making me nervous, and it was that I was calling myself out on my own bullshit, you know, stopping the excuses of like, why haven't you put those episodes out? Why haven't you gone out and meet people and record with them or extend that arm to record with people? And I was like, well, Michael, you're in that, like you said, that action phase, you know, like you have everything you need, like just do it now.
Yep.
Like
Shia LaBeouf said, man, don't let your dreams be dreams, man. Do it.
Absolutely.
Go.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Absolutely. Like, which is interesting that you just said that, because it sparked like corporations and Nike, right? If society's just built of
I'm not trying to market people.
Right. Society's built on individuals, right? And these individuals grow into
the illusion of individualism.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yes, the illusion of individualism. But then we grow into these conglomerates and these corporations, and we sometimes, when they get that big, the message they're trying to spread is lost. Like I think about Walmart, right? Like I truly do not believe the founders of Walmart intended for it to
slave labor
and
cheap crap materials and bad wages for their employees. Yeah, no.
If you think about what it provides,
they sold the company with intents to hopefully the people who bought it is going to do well in their name. Hopefully,
right?
You know, you'd like to hope that please take care of my company for this amount of billions of dollars. Yes, I hope you do well with it. You said like, yeah, sure, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Give me my money.
Yeah.
But exactly, like, if I had I wouldn't. That would never be my intent.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's anyone's true business intent to screw people over,
right?
Or screw their employees over.
Yeah.
You know, majority of the time.
And what's crazy is I think, you know, Walmart had to start somewhere.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Maybe it started in those community sharing projects that we were talking about.
Most stores do. There's like a community market of some sort, or a farmer's market, and it just gets more attention. Or someone bought a small little shop and they were able to add some shelves into it and sell their homemade stuff, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, you know, like. And
so now where my brain goes is when we get to the global scale of things, is that, how do we overcome that? Because
wow,
we try, the community is here, right? Ocean Beach, there's a reason you chose this place to spread your mission and start your mission.
Right.
Trying to do this on the grand scale, we run into problems.
Exactly, and that's why I've kind of really, to go to one of the questions as to why I chose OB.
Yeah.
Is because it has the openness, that chance of the potential of vulnerability and accepting the vulnerability of being able to put yourself out there. Because there's always people performing here. You got the homeless people out here that, some of them are amazing. Like just some of the homeless people that live out on the streets here that are like phenomenal talent. There's this one guy, I wish I remembered his name. He kind of talks like this. And his girlfriend, or I don't know if it's girlfriend, but she plays a banjo and she's fucking flawless. Amazing banjo. And he has an amazing voice. And they, I wish I remember their names, but they're awesome.
You'll probably see him later.
Exactly. They come to open mic night when they can afford it or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, I don't know all their situations, so I don't want to be presumptuous or assume anything. But like, all I know is that I see them on the streets on Newport, and they kick ass. Like they're really talented.
For sure.
And hopefully they hear this. I love you guys. I really do.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I chose OB because of the openness, the vibes, and then it's like I can really set my foundation of cultivating how I want to perform there. And also, it's a perfect place to grow because it's a tourist destination.
Yes.
People from all over San Diego, all over sometimes even the country, even the world. I've heard different accents and stuff. I've heard people, oh wow, I can't believe this is really cool, San Diego. We got to come back here next year after we come out of Europe, and what the hell? So, perfect area to spread that message, to get a bigger marketing connection when it comes to spreading it out there on Instagram or whatever. But it's just to spread it out there, because I had someone from Wisconsin the other day, the other week, come up to me like, please stop, like I need to cherish this memory, please can I take a photo and a video, oh my god, like, she was crying, like she felt so inspired.
Because she doesn't get that over there.
Exactly. And for me, it brought tears to my eyes, expect like every week, man, and it hasn't stopped. Where, like, cause I'm putting myself out there. I'm being completely whole. The mission is spreading the unconditional love, the radical love and truth that I feel for all beings and myself, and trying to find ways to do that. And the best way that I found for myself to do it was to have a garment on that just represents love, or just simplicity. Sorry.
It's a reinforcer.
Exactly.
It's a reinforcer.
And it's a costume, gets a little attention, but it was my own practice because I wanted to always do this. Sometimes if in the summertime, I'm going to be naked underneath this.
Yeah.
But right now it's a little chilly sometimes at night, so I got a few shirts on. But I'm making signs and spreading love. And, anytime I give someone a hug, I give a personalized affirmation to that person. It's just intuitive. Hey, you're worthy of being alive. Whatever you may be going through, it's okay. Hey, you're beautiful. Hey, you have a great soul. I hope you get home safe. Like, something just endearing because I really, people may not believe this. People think it's pompous, hippie. I really do care. I really do love everybody.
I was going to touch on that.
And it's hard to really feel that. Because every week, man, I get different reactions. Like, mostly all of it's positive, like 97%, 98, 99.9% is positive. But it's those little bits of like, everyone's lovable. No, they're not. Hey, can I read your sign? Oh, okay, nice outfit, dude. Like things like that. Someone came up to me the other day and he was pointing straight at my face. He's like, you're not Jesus. I turn around, I'm like, I know I'm not. I'm just a man on a mission to love. Like, all right, dude.
Projection.
Exactly. Same thing with the guy who's like, no one's lovable. It's like, you're just thinking of someone who's hurt you, man. Yeah. That's okay.
And that's all you can do. You can just love them
exactly.
even more.
and at the end of the night, like, after all the reciprocation, after all the love, after all the people who come up and vent just cause, people, when I give advice, like, and, I just love people. And I give flowers out. I hug, kids come up to me and hug me. And, like, it's just, I feel it all. I feel all the love, and I feel the lack of love. I feel all the reciprocation, and I feel all the faith and the lack of faith. I feel
very observant.
And pondering, and I soak it all in. And so a lot of times when I'm, riding on the trolley and the bus home, I'm shaking. I'm overwhelmed with vibration. It's like I'm on the verge of, sometimes I cry.
Yeah.
I weep. But it's an ecstatic, overwhelming, blissful, heart-wrenching combination of feeling.
Because going back to it, like, this is not something easy to do.
No.
It's not. It's something powerful because you're giving energy out, simultaneously taking on so much energy from other people, and that can be draining.
And knowing that it's a world, it's like in myself, and it's just maybe my own personal thing that keeps me motivated.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world with this sort of message.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like I want the whole world to hear. This is a worldly message. This is a worldly, unifying, universal message that needs to be heard, and that needs to be continually taught and reminded, and that has been taught and reminded for ages. People have died for this message. People have been murdered for this message.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm willing to go that distance. I really am. A friend of mine, John Conway, I fucking love you, dude. Like, you know, he's like, are you really, like, after years of just when I got into psychedelics and psychology and everything, I was really, before I even got into psychedelics, I was into a lot of spirituality and psychology already.
Yes.
So I was able to gain a lot of foundation of not really what to expect, but how to handle the situations and the emotional turmoils and divisions and the feelings of under a psychedelic substance.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I did do it, I had some sort of familiarity to be comfortable with the unexpected, you know?
Yes.
And so
okay, gotcha.
with him, I'd always talk about how radical my ideas of love were and everything. He's like, are you really willing to be a martyr? And I'm like, you really, dude? And I'm like, yeah. I'm not just saying that. I will die for this. I'm willing to. Like, because...
If you're not, then you're going to fear death.
Exactly. I don't fear it.
If you're...
I can't.
If you're not fully the embodiment of what you want to be, that's where all these negative behaviors and thought patterns and just self-destructive on the individual level and on the global scale, that's
Yes.
where all that self-destruction comes from. If you're scared to be the embodiment of what you are, and truly
To talk the talk and walk the walk.
yeah, truly.
You know, I've been the type of person throughout my life is my word is my bond and my actions are my seal.
My word is my bond, my actions. Oh, I like that.
You know, and
I
so
like that.
and at the end of the day, hey, maybe my actions may not align with the seal all the time, but they do eventually. I always make sure that, like, say if I owe someone money, you know, hey man,
Yeah.
I'll make sure I can pay you back with this day. And they say life happens, and I can't. But hey man, I got you. Don't worry, like that kind of stuff. Or like when I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, when I say I got you, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, when I say, hey man, yeah, I got you for gas money, or hey man, I can pick you up, I got you.
That's so important.
You know, I've always been the reliable one in my friend group. I've always been the person to where like they can come to and vent. When I lived with my grandmother, it was a house of well-being. It was a house of if you're stressful, if you need a place to stay, if you need a plate to eat, come over. I got you. You're safe here. And that's what I want to cultivate once I have my own space, my own house.
Yeah.
I need that. I want that for people.
And it's true because it's one of the first things I said to you when we were setting this up. It was, I love the communication because it shows so clearly that this is something you wanted to do, and it wasn't one of those, you know, yeah, no, we should definitely do it, and then just let it slip under the...
No, I'm committed, man. As
Yeah.
soon as you said podcast, I'm like, this is an opportunity to have this documented.
Absolutely.
You know, and I was like, I got to take it
And
It's
put it
like-
out on a global scale.
Literally.
It's a reverberation of your mission here in Ocean Beach. It's going to push out there, and that's why I started this podcast, to bring these missions and show the similarities between all the people that I meet on my travels. And
There's something I want to read real quick.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
please continue.
No, I mean, I think that was it. However, I did have a question, and I
Yes.
hope we remember. Can you repeat your quote, my words are my bond and my actions
Yes.
are my seal, at the very end? And then we'll...
Of course. So that one sign that I showed about vibrating to similarities, not to differences.
yeah.
If people who saw it, and you may have noticed it, midnight is spelled differently than the actual word, because it is a band name of a reggae band that I listen to religiously. 80 plus albums. They came out in '89. They're from the Virgin Islands of St. Croix, and they're all about praising Jah Rastafari, the Rastafarians' image of who they feel the living God is, and I respect that and I love it because it instigates and enables truth, and enables them to spread having faith of message of love and unity, and defying skin tone, and teaching the children, and defying the government, and defying authority, and diving deep into what's really going on and behind the veils of the system, and exposing it, and chanting down Babylon, chisel down the system, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so And also like finding the divinity within you, finding love within you, treating women as the celestial appeal that they are, because every single woman has the gestation of the universe within their womb, and they need to be respected and loved and appreciated as such.
It's literally a portal.
It's the portal. It's the portal. That's why I love the Orion Nebula. I created this shirt. I'll show you more of it later.
Absolutely.
Ancient. I'm sure as you know, ancient civilizations. We're star people, or some indigenous cultures like especially Egyptians, but also some natives here in America and even South America. They connect to the Orion Nebula, the Orion's belt, the stellar nursery that's in between the belt, because they know from themselves that is the essence of the creation of this potential corner of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And the Orion Nebula is just a stellar nursery, and stellar nurseries are the creations of the gases and the essences of creation.
Absolutely. It's literally the beginning of star formation. It's all the gaseous
it's stars, planets, condensing. And everything. And so, because it's the creation of light. And guess what? Light's created from the darkness of space.
Question.
Yes.
Your name, is that given by your parents?
Yes.
That's so crazy.
Hilariously enough, my dad wanted to call me Nicodemus. It was some title, some name of someone in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And once he found that out, he's like, I don't want no biblical name in my son. Supposedly Nicodemus was someone who may have betrayed Jesus or something like that. I don't know. But my dad was like, nah, he was going to name him Orion because, well, my mom loved the name, and also my dad would always see the constellation every time he walked outside at night.
No coincidences.
And so that was my name, Orion. And when as I got older, I kind of laughed about it because, my name is mentioned in the Bible, I think, at least twice. So I was like, Dad. Sorry, my name's still in the Bible. But it's, I resonate with that. I resonate with the nebula. I resonate with the essence of the creation. The fact that if there's something about that constellation that connects all different ancient cultures for some reason.
Yeah, and where my brain goes is
I like how you say that, by the way. Where my brain goes. I love that. It's so cool.
The star formation.
Yeah.
Nebulas are the beginning of star formation, and then eventually billions and billions of years of lifetime. Some stars actually die in millions of years. I was just watching someone.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
But matter cannot be created nor destroyed.
Right.
Once stars condense and they become actual stars, they will die off and they will explode, and that matter.
Just the core, that's the white dwarf. Yeah.
And the matter continues on to create new stars. And so where I'm seeing this here is from your childhood, everything you've went through. You are the explosion. You are the new formation. You are the nebula of everything, the chaos that your life was.
Michael,
you are the beginning and the birth of a new star, a new age here.
Man,
and I that's why I say no coincidences, because it's so clear to me, and I hope it shows through this. You are what comes next.
Thank you, dude. Thank you a lot. The mission is, it's intense. This is, I thank my ex, honestly. I really do, because despite the things that we went through, it was nothing crazy. It was just we grew apart over time. It happens. We're young. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful that we had the maturity to end it and be like, hey, we should be growing on our own now. And as abrupt as it was at first, more her choice than mine, we worked it out. I'm good. I have a temporary occupancy at my friend's house that I'm getting out of in the next couple weeks. I need to. And so I'm looking at places, and, I have connections if things don't work out, because I'm branching out. I'm always expanding. I'm always prepared.
Absolutely.
So, and it's just because of her, when we broke up, I was like, cool, this is my time. This is my time to shine.
Yeah.
This is my time to actually put in the efforts to even more of my self-development. And so I was like, I'm doing it.
And you're shining, dude.
And I've been doing it ever since. And she's proud of me. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of her for doing what she's doing. She finally quit the job that we had together and going to a farm to learn more, learn more self-sustainable skills as she intended since she was a teenager. And it's just great. Life is great.
Yeah, I love that.
But the mission's love, man. It's I just want to make sure we cover all the questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's plenty I probably missed.
Oh no, you'll be back here.
You'll be back here. Yeah, for sure. Because there's plenty to I'd love to tell stories of childhood. I have a funny story that I'd love to share of when I called my dad the N-word when I was like a little kid.
Okay.
It was just a really funny story because of the history of my dad, and it was in front of Bob, Black Bob, and so like the whole story. It's a funny story. It's a goofball story. And just
Go for it.
fuck it. All right. So I was 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
So never mind the language. My dad I got in trouble at school for something. I was a very hyperactive kid as a child.
Uh-huh.
My mom, I was a meth baby.
Okay.
And so, I loved sugar. I loved snacks. And so, like, I was always hyped up and aware and just very energetic. And so, I got in trouble in school one day, and Bob and my dad and a couple of his other friends are in the living room, and my dad's like calling me out in front of his friends. Oh, Ron, you got in trouble. All right, go to your room. You're on restriction. Make sure to put all your toys and stuff in the other room. Only leave your mattress. My dad was very strict when it came to punishment. Prison style punishment. So when I was grounded, it was called restriction, and he'd put everything aside from my mattress and my dresser. He put everything else but that in a different room. All my toys and TV, PlayStation 1 as a kid, and he put all that in a different room.
And you just have a mattress and your
mattress
dresser.
and my dresser,
Okay.
For a week or whatever, and that's you're grounded. You can't go out. You only go to school and back. Obviously, it's not like he doesn't really treat me like prison. Like he
Yeah,
just,
it's
he's
not
sliding my
solitary
dinner under the
confinement.
table or sliding my dinner under
Yeah.
the door or nothing. But it's just I can't have fun. And it's consequences of your actions. It's like, so I learned very young.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was also really interesting when it came to morals. Like the time he taught me women first when it comes to like, entering the door or holding the door for women. I'll go back to the other story. Sorry.
Yeah.
We came back from grocery shopping with my sister and her mother and him, and like I'm running first to the door, and I'm probably 8 because my sister was born when I was 7, so yeah, like 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
And I run to the front door, I'm swinging the screen door open, and I'm jiggling the door because I want to get in, and my dad just like, he takes his 2 fingers and he presses them over my shoulder into the pressure point, really, like he digs in like a hook, and he just pulls me back, and he's like, women go first. And I was like, yes, sir. And ever since then, I always open the door for women. I'm always opening the car door. I'm always, it's just natural to me now. And then I realized, wow, so many women don't have that. And I'll open the door for women, like, well, thank you. No man has ever done that. None of my exes have done that. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's the shit? Where's the gentleman-tude?
Yeah.
Where's the real like care and compassion and consideration? And it's like I like going up to the door. I like introducing myself with flowers. It's like. I don't know. It seems like someone's more rare. It seems rarer nowadays than it used to be, or at least the women that I've talked to and interacted with, platonically, romantically, they're always so surprised of how I treat them.
Yeah.
At least, of course, not like you learn as you get older. I wasn't fucking Prince Perfect, at 13, 14, 15 years old.
Right.
I'm 2-timing at 15, 13 years old, being an idiot.
Yeah.
Karma comes back, luckily, and I learned. I learned not to be an asshole. So
It's those. It's just those pleasantries,
yeah.
And not making it the chase, right?
Exactly.
Not making it the chase, but
Exactly.
just like a show of respect through your actions. I definitely feel that. I do question. Do you do it for men too, or just women? Like, is it for all beings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly women, of course.
Okay.
But it's like when it comes to men, like I surround myself with men. I give men hugs and kisses. Like,
Yeah.
it's like my friend Gavin and I, kiss each other on the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Like we love each other very, very, very much. It's like I love bond with men. I want to cultivate more of that, because especially men who are in tune with their feminine sides, where you don't mind hugging, having long hugs or meditations or yogas or just bonding, really connecting and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta treat men as celestial appeal too, because we got creation in our balls. Like, come on, we got space dust in there too.
For real.
So
Yeah.
it's but of course you go you go a little extra mile for women.
Yeah.
I
think
it's an ego thing. I think it's maybe more a natural, inherent thing.
for you, yeah, like who
definitely
you're
probably
attracted
for me.
to and everything,
Yeah,
right?
it's just like,
yeah,
or just in general, like even like because I know to treat even it's because with the whole friendship thing back earlier is
yeah,
it's men needing to cultivate the same respect and treatment and compassion and admiration they have for an attractive woman, the same for a woman that they don't find attractive. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
treat every single woman as if they're a wife. Like, treat every single woman as if they have mom potential. Treat every single woman as if they're queen potential, you know, with respect, not from lust. You know, with like, I respect you as a person, and so I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to treat you with the reverence that you deserve. You know, because one, you're a unique being. There's no one ever like you or ever will be ever again. And you carry something very precious within you, which is the mechanics of creation that come from the stars, that come from this. Okay? And
Literally.
like you can't not have reverence for that.
Yeah, I see.
Know? And so for me, it's like it's more of like a, they deserve praise.
I see.
You know, for that aspect, because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's just, yeah, I could just that tiny little extra mile.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Just like,
because they deserve it. They
Yeah.
fucking deserve it.
They do.
Especially
They
after
do.
everything they've go through.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, like the tug of war they have to go through is actually picking a suitable mate. You know, siphoning through all the assholes, the players, the schemers that seem nice, and then they just want something and then leave,
and they're,
you know, and no
historically,
we've
like,
had it too. I've you know, like we've had men where, you know, we go through women who are pretty messed up, you know, but
historically and
yes,
predominantly it's been, in our history at least, in this modern culture, it's been women who carry the
burden.
The burden of men's choices, unfortunately.
and it's like I think all things it's a blessed burden. Same thing with like being aware in a society that's asleep. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to
and a
burden.
curse,
Yeah. You know, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I had my father in my life, but I was raised primarily by my mother and my sister.
That's
and
nice.
so
That's good. I had to cultivate that nurturing for myself.
Yeah.
And also it's like seeking it out as a young child through friends' mothers, or as a younger adult, you know, seeking it through girlfriends' mothers, you know, and just seeking any aspect of nurturing I could get to cultivate it so I know how to cultivate it for myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. Like, I have so many extra mothers that I've had throughout my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, that of course my mom completely understands that, you know, and that's great, because no one's going to replace my real mother, you know, but just the aspects of every woman has that nurturing aspect in them. So it's just being able to seek it out, but then also not depend on it.
Yeah. It's awesome that you were able to cultivate that despite not having your mother like completely in your life consistently, which is just the 3 times you said.
Yeah.
Like,
I've actually spent like intimate time with her. Yeah.
Because I felt like that came very naturally to me, and
That's great.
And like because of my mother and my sister, like opened up that space for me to connect with women and understand and appreciate the value of their life and their being. I had the opposite though.
Wow, okay.
I'm working currently to cultivate my connection with men because I've not had super positive male role models. I mean, my brothers, they're amazing, and they've helped me learn a lot about life, but they were not by choice. They were not in my life as I was growing up.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just kind of always felt uneasy around men. And
Same.
but I'm breaking down those walls, and I'm learning how to connect with men and see them just as compassionately and appreciate them just as much as I do women.
Right.
And it's opened my eyes to a lot. So I'm trying to live my life in
Reminds me of something.
in just getting rid of, like, this is deep conversation right
Please,
here.
I love it.
Getting rid of the, I would even say, like, illusion of gender.
Yeah.
And just going,
We're just human.
yeah, we are just beings, you know, like,
We're just souls.
yeah. You know, obviously I live in my time.
Of course.
Like, I'm here in this society, so I'm not like completely just, I don't throw it out the window, but like I see evolution moving towards that route.
Yeah.
And I've opened up so many amazing friendships recently with men by showing them that same compassion that I've showed women. And actually, to call back your door opening story, I had a friend of mine that I was just, you know, I stayed at his house, and he was with his wife, and I was with my partner, and he opened all of our doors. He opened my door. He opened his wife's door.
I loved it.
He opened
I got
her
you,
door.
homie.
And I was like, oh, wow, dude, like, that's amazing.
What's
You know?
up. That's beautiful.
And I really appreciated that. Yeah. So definitely,
It reminds you, like,
yeah. What does it remind you of?
Cultivating like compassion for like other men, like
Uh-huh.
in friendship wise. It's like I remember like when my ex and I first started dating, like, you know, we had like mutual friends who were men, and like they had aspects and traits that I looked up to, but that at the time of allowing my insecurities to get in the way, I would then compare. You know, and then especially when you're around a woman, even if it's not romantic, or just you're around a couple women and then a couple other men, it's just all men will just be comparing each other to themselves. Mm-hmm. Oh, he has that. Oh, shit, I gotta be better than. Oh, he has a cool story. Oh, I gotta have a better story. Like,
so dangerous.
Yeah, man. And the women feed off that in a sense, because on one where they sense it, and then two, they're like they know that we're all playing this weird subconscious behind the veil game. You know, because we all sense that energy doesn't lie. And learning how to, like, oh wow, like if I'm feeling this and this weird anxiety, insecurity, comparison, and they feel that too, not just for themselves, but they feel it off of me.
The men in that room?
Yes.
Okay, yes,
and it's
I
like
agree completely.
both the women too, but it's like that's what you're focusing on is comparison to the men, and it's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Especially because you're going from that, I think what it is going back to that animal instinct of tribal, or just want to procreate, and I got to be the one, you know, like I got to be the one to spread the seed, not you, like, you know, and it translates and transmutes into that social game of comparison of traits and stuff like that.
Very
you know?
interesting how you bring it up.
Same thing with like the women of cultivating, you know, trying to find a great man that's both violent but able to be protective and not threatening.
Yeah.
Like, it's a psychological, animalistic situation that we have to deal with.
Yeah, what I've noticed when those feelings arise, and you touched on it, it's that insecurity in me. Like, what do I admire about that person? Right? It's the feeling is jealousy.
Yep.
But I'm trying to reframe my brain, and it's like, what do I admire about that person?
And how can I cultivate it in my own way?
Exactly, in my own way. Because like a lot of the times it becomes like, how can I
just do it?
How can I be similar to him?
How can I just do how they do
it? Yeah. Like, how is it coming so natural to him, you know?
And a lot of times it doesn't. That's the funny thing. And we realize when you're talking to a lot of these things, they don't come natural. It's just like with me, it's like, you just be natural doing this. Like, no, I have like a mini anxiety attack the first 5 minutes walking out there every single week. Yeah. You know? So it's like, no, it doesn't come easy.
And talk about those things.
Exactly.
Yes, because it disarms our brains.
Exactly.
And we're like,
oh, wow, they actually put in efforts and struggle. Okay, cool. It's okay for me to struggle and go through it and make mistakes and cultivate it in my own way.
Yeah.
And back to real quick.
In your own way. I love that.
The individuality thing.
Yes.
Systematic illusion of separation and the illusion of individuality. There is no true individualism, because everything we've ever created and thought and done has been inspired and influenced by someone or something from the past and or the present.
One more time. I'm sorry.
Even our thoughts. It's okay. So I'll say that slower.
Yeah.
There truly is no real individuality.
Okay.
Because everything that we express, think, and do, or create, has already been influenced and inspired by somebody else that have created, said, or done other things.
Yes, absolutely.
And so in every single thought we have, even the ones from the deep essence of our imagination, was influenced from something maybe 5 years ago, maybe just 5 seconds ago. So the individuality doesn't exist. Everything's all synchronistic in a weird way. It's just we're all manifesting a slight, unique way of expressing it. And that's why, because if there really was individuality, we couldn't relate. Because there'd be nothing to relate to. It's individual. It's only mine. It's only yours. And that's, a lot of people get stuck in that, I think. You know, they're like, you can't do it how I do it. It's like, but I can. You know, but it's just going to be a little bit slightly different. But if I take the same practices that you do and put in the same sorts of effort, I can play the same music you play. Yeah. You know, like that's that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it's so important to do it in your own way too, because there are no original ideas. Right. It's all just we live in a reality that has predetermined rules. We know the rules as much as we want to know of reality. Yep. And it's just finding our own way to express within the confines of those rules what our reality looks like. Exactly. You know? And there's little variations because of genetic, formations being different DNA and this and that, and our environments are different. So we look at the world. Your shade of red is a little different than my shade of red.
Right. But it's still red.
But it's still red, and it's how well can you communicate that to another person to
communicate,
show.
to relate. That way that way you realize you're never alone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because alone, the Latin root, the etymology, which I thank my ex for just teaching me about etymology and stuff like that. It's all one. It essentially means all one.
Alone
means all one.
Oh wow! I've never made that connection.
Etymology is really fun. Because it goes to the original root and the meaning of the words, because the dictionary meanings aren't the legitimate meanings, they're manipulated meanings.
Oh, okay. Etymology.
Yeah. So we have to really look, because we don't understand the words that we're speaking. We don't really understand the true meanings of the words. Like government. There's different slight interpretations, but it basically govern, what does that mean? Control.
To rule.
Ment. It's another acronym or another way of saying mind. What is the government doing?
Controlling our mind. Interesting stuff. I love these connections because it's the same thing, like we just said. Yeah. Same thing over and over again. Yeah. It's just how many times and how many different ways do we have to see it.
That band Midnight that I listen to, that I recommend anyone and everyone to listen to. If you love reggae, if you love learning about society, or just learning about divinity within, or just having fun with language and history and science, and just going against the establishment, he talks a lot about words and how they're framed and used against us. And if you invert certain words, you actually find some of the real meanings. Like the one that comes to me, it's controversial, but I love it. Origin. Invert origin. Negro. Black. The origin of light is blackness. And I wrote on my Instagram the other day, everything is rooted in black. Everything is rooted in darkness/blackness. The lights from the sun, the light from the stars is created in the blackness of the space. The light of the baby is created in the blackness of the womb. The sprouts of the seeds are grown in the blackness of the soil. The burning of the fuel is from the blackness of oil. The shining of diamonds is from the blackness of coal. Everything is rooted in blackness. The thoughts, imaginations of our mind is rooted in the blackness of the void of our minds.
I like it.
And, as I said before, skin tone is only the distance from the creator and sunlight. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And ancestral migration and adaptation.
Yeah. Back on the black thing.
Yeah.
With light.
Yes.
Black is the absorption of all the colors of light. And I go to the coal and the diamonds when you see the diamond and refracts all light.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. I love the connections.
Like in the origin of man was black. People can refute that out they want, but science keeps proving it over and over and over again.
I mean, you said it earlier, from the darkness of space, that's where stars and nebulas come from.
And there's nothing wrong.
That. That's interesting.
Those ideas,
etymology, right?
It kills. Yeah.
Okay.
Those ideas literally kill racism. It's like it doesn't exist when you realize those things. That every human being, literally, we all have organs. We all have the same sort of cellular structures. We all have the same hexagonal, spirally DNA. Like there's no, it's a radical idea for some odd reason. Something so common sense. Something that I remember learning in biology class. That somehow people, I don't get it sometimes. But I mean, I do, and that's why I do it. I do get it. That's why I keep spreading that out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is something that's dawned on you, but as much as I become this spiritual being in tune with these literally eternal truths that just repeat over and over again throughout history, and I feel compelled to reverberate that message out, I realize I can't do it alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
By myself. And I've always put so much pressure to do it by myself. And it still scares me, though, to invite people into this space and create with me and share the mission. But is that something you've experienced too?
Wanting to expand it more.
Yeah.
And trying to do it more than just on my own.
Okay.
Like I have a friend of mine who it's like we want to start filming more, do things maybe like in the college area now that it's over for the moment. Next semester, go out there and film and give out flowers or signs and good job, you can do it, congratulations or whatever. I want to eventually start like going to college parties, like where the parties are and the bars and stuff with my signs.
Spreading this message in those environments, that'd be awesome. Because
make content, have fun little content like that. There's this channel on YouTube called Side Talk New York City.
Okay.
Where it's just small like 40-second videos of this guy, it's groups of people who are sheep farmers in New York City, but they go to like the ghetto areas and there's the real hype crazy areas of Brooklyn and Harlem and they just film just crazy pop off parties and just people shouting out stuff and just going crazy, having fun. And it's just like, okay, it gives me an idea to then do the same thing here all the way in the West Coast. But in my outfit with my signs and then go to all there were all downtown parties and all the bars are and just have fun and go to the clubs and just have my sign.
Oh my God!
Love and just go, oh my God, it's fucking Jesus, man! Like
in Nova downtown,
and just have fun. Like
that'd be hilarious.
Just, who knows how that could grow? Who knows what that would end up?
Yeah.
So it's just like, my friend and I, we're always swinging ideas every now and again, and we both have our own lives and cultivate our own progress and stuff, and we connect when we can.
Yeah.
Gavin Zen, I love you, dude. Thank you for everything. Really, truly.
I love how much you.
I have to.
You send the love out to
when I remember
people,
someone who's like, "Oh, I have to."
Absolutely.
It's just like I have to give that out there.
I love
it's
that.
not all just me,
Don't hold it in.
So, and again, because it's the aspect of you can't do it alone. And I'm so grateful for the people around my life who have supported me, who have encouraged me, who have guided me, who have given me critical guidance. Generative criticism. That's what I'm looking for. Generative criticism. Because criticism is good, but
generative in the sense that it generates or it
helps me adapt more.
Gotcha.
Like, hey, you sure about this decision? Or, oh, this is an idea that I've had. It's like, oh, maybe this, maybe that. It's like the saying of like every great man behind every great man is an even greater woman. Because that man who has great ideas and everything, he's deliberating all those ideas with his wife. Like, hey, what do you think? And like, this is because as a great man knows, is that his woman thinks of things more than he does. They're more detail oriented. So honor that by having her exercise that, by offering her your trust and your vulnerability with your ideas and your plans and your imaginations and creations, and deliberate and come together, and then that way vice versa. You think of things a little bit differently than she does. So that enables the vice versa effect.
Yeah, the collaboration. Yeah, absolutely. That's what partnerships are. It's collaborating on life.
Exactly. And both on a platonic or a romantic level, that's what keeps things together, I think. Especially in a community level. Back to the community mutual aid thing.
That's why when you're in those toxic friendships or relationships where it doesn't feel like a collaborative experience, you know it's not right for you.
Yep.
Because
Max and I roller coastered that for a while. Because especially when we were traveling, you do everything you can to try to make it work. Because you can't. You don't want to be an asshole. You don't want to be a bitch and just leave them out and stranded. Like that's what
Yeah,
come on. So you try to do everything
up.
you can to make it work and try to hopefully get to a point where now we can split, and that's what happened, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because everything happened for a reason. And
you're on the road for a year.
Look where I am now. So
yeah, on the road for a year.
It was a full year. It was wonderful, man.
Yeah.
It was so great.
So many great experiences.
Dang, man. Yeah, we native land. We had sweat lodges. We saw this beautiful. We went to Niagara Falls. I remember one year. I think it was 2 years ago. For her birthday, we went all the way to Julian.
Okay.
And then I think,
down here, Julian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for our 2-year anniversary, we went all the way to the Redwoods. We drove all the way through we visited San Francisco.
Yeah.
We didn't go to Alcatraz, but we saw it. Golden Gate Bridge. We drove past that. Because we went all the way up to the Redwoods, and that, man, I will never forget that.
Transcending.
Really is, because they're the oldest trees in the entire world. Jurassic Park filmed there for a little bit.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
There's a few scenes of I believe it's when it's like really dark out. The big red trees and any of the scenes in the first Jurassic Park with the big red ferns or the green ferns, that's the Redwoods.
Redwoods, okay.
Yeah.
For sure. If you ever want a similar experience closer to here, Sequoia National Park.
Ooh.
Very, very similar.
Yeah,
There's
I heard about that.
A lot of knowledge in those trees. It's crazy to see these giants just struck with lightning, catching on fire, and
just chilling.
They still stay standing. And the crazy thing is, over centuries, the bark grows over those scars, but you can still see a sliver of black from a lightning strike that's like prehistoric. Like, it literally blows my mind because it's.
I remember they tried to burn down because of deforestation and shit. Even back in the 1800s, 1700s, like they couldn't do it. They couldn't burn them down, so they're fine. We're just gonna chop them all down. And
Giants.
They chopped down so many of them. Like the fact I saw a map of how many of the area that's left that we have now, which is just parts of northern California and all that. It used to be like almost the whole half of the fucking country. It used to be almost all of California. It used to be a lot. And imagine all that oxygen that we used to have. No wonder why things have slowly over time shrunk. Just millions of years things have shrunk because of oxygen and stuff. But even in the time frame that man has been influencing the earth, or impacting the earth in one way or another, which, by the way, doesn't matter what we do, the earth is going to be fine with or without us.
Absolutely.
Putting that out there, climate change and all that, don't fall for it. Like, we affect it. We definitely affect it.
We affect it.
But the thing is, like, we only look at it through the timeline of human life.
Right.
We only look at it through 100 years or 200 years. We're not looking at it the time span of hundreds and thousands, which we do have the carbon dated data for, which shows that this thing that we're in right now is nothing. We're fine.
Right. What you're speaking on is this doomsday fatalistic view that has been pushed on us.
Which they use for propaganda.
Exactly.
For
to keep you
controlled, to keep you
feeling like it's hopeless.
And still being desperate to still pay a lot of money for resources that actually really aren't sparse.
Yeah.
So,
I feel you. Yeah. But we do have to clarify, we do have issues with climate change.
No, I'm not denying that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a climate change denier, but I am a climate change.
It's a little pompous of us.
Yeah, it's like you got to be
humans
investigative to just assume that the end all be all and that there's only one solution and that there's only one issue or one way to look at the problem, or that the problem is as big as we perceive it to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel as if me as a human, since I live such a short lifespan of time, everything that we experience, billions of years of creation and destruction, are compacted into this 100-year lifespan
to try to figure so much of it out.
And I feel, like you said earlier, I feel the weight of the world. But that meditation, that mindfulness practice reminds me that I am just like a star has its million to billion year lifespan. I have 100 years as a human to live my life in accordance with all my values and all the things, all the goals that I envision. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to fall into my own hubris and think that I am going to change the entire reality that we live in.
Yeah, exactly.
In my 100 year lifespan.
It's like you can't have that sort of God complex or that sort of, like Messiah-esque complex. But
no saviors.
You gotta focus
Kendrick
on
Lamar, have you listened to the new album?
I heard a couple of the songs so far.
Powerful album.
Yeah, it was really, I can't wait. Denzel Curry's also been really phenomenal. His most recent, you can tell he's been through some hardcore spiritual growth.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen more to him because he's been in my space a
and
lot,
he's been kind of out of the eye for a little bit because of the whole cultivating his own spiritual thing. Because his latest release from Denzel Curry was like, wow, this is very powerful stuff.
Okay.
I feel like he's been on some journeys. He's probably been down to South America, done something. Which is beautiful because I love all these modern artists who are, they're in the mainstream, but they've always tried their best to like have a real message.
Yeah.
Really cultivating that more so. It's like a universal consciousness shift of enlightenment. And I remember the age of the Kali Yuga that we're in, which is the age of enlightenment, or that we're getting into. The wave is coming, and it affects everybody at all levels of politics, entertainment, CEO, bankrupt, human trafficking, whatever the fuck. And of course, it'll hit everybody, but it's only very few are going to be the ones that are going to feel it and actually act on it. In a sense where it's like you have a change of an idea, and it's like,
okay,
I'm going to act on that idea now.
Yes.
Everyone's been getting these newer ideas to just be more spiritual, or to be just more communicatively aware, or to be more with nature, or whatever. And even at a celebrity type level, like musicians, like Kendrick Lamar, he's a father of two now, and all of his music is like very inspirational when it comes to getting out of the hood or finding divinity and like communicating with your neighbors and like, you know, like paying attention to the culture and not letting it influence you too much. And
breaking
like
the cycles.
Exactly. And it's beautiful because I've like all these mainstream artists that, you know, they get paid to sing songs that aren't even theirs.
Yes.
You know, like coming out with, hey, I have my own little project and it's my own actual fucking music, and it's like, wow, this is better than anything you've ever put out. Like, it's interesting. It's fun to see that, to witness it, to witness a real consciousness shift.
Yes, it really is.
In real time.
It really is, especially how connected we are. It does feel like a collective consciousness shift. And I like the way you put, you know, all these spiritual awakenings that are happening to people, and it's like, who is going to answer the call? Who, you know, because
anyone that answers.
I'm a firm believer in,
because roll calls for everybody, but not everyone's gonna come.
Comes knocking.
You know,
it comes knocking. Are you gonna open the door? Are
You're just gonna be like, yeah, maybe later.
It's
maybe later, maybe never come. Sometimes it's only a one-time knock.
That's it.
That's like 1, 2. Are you there? Okay, bye. Like and it's like the universe. Everything comes in cycles. Nature, galaxies. You know. Why wouldn't life cycle too? Like when it comes to like reincarnation, but that's a side note. Opportunities in life always circle around. Like lessons in life will always be repeated to be taught in a different manner. And like history repeats itself, sort of thing. Opportunities tend to repeat themselves, but maybe anytime it comes around again and you miss it or you don't grab onto it, when it comes around again the next time, it's going to be slightly different, maybe more challenging.
It's going to be in a different way.
Exactly. Or it may not even come again. It may be a one-time opportunity and you missed it, you know?
Not this lifetime.
Exactly. Not this one.
Yeah.
But it's having the discernment, the consciousness, and the vigilance to be like, I feel like, hey, I want to go spark in this. I want to really act upon this spark of an idea to create something. Or to, you know what, I really want to reach out to that friend. Or, hey, you know what, I'm going to write down that idea. Or, you know, I'm going to draw that drawing or read that book.
Don't keep it in your head. Do it.
Exactly.
Do that action.
Because that's the call.
Yeah.
That's the call to the inherent drive to express, the inherent drive to connect, the inherent drive to relate, to be free.
Yes.
And the best ways to do that is by expressing ourselves through our talents, hobbies, and our interests.
Yeah.
So
I think the last...
That's loving yourself.
It is. It is loving yourself. I like that. Yeah.
If I may, I wanted to read something real quick. I don't know how much time we have left.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have one last thought, too.
Yes, of course.
And then we can close it out. This has been a great thing.
That'd be great. Yeah, man.
We were talking about doors
Yes.
and answering the call. And growing up, like, this is how deep-rooted these behaviors are in my head.
Yeah.
You know, my family always reinforced, like, because they left us home to take care of ourselves enough, like, a lot.
Yeah.
And don't answer the door. You know,
Yep.
whoever comes knocking, don't answer the door.
Yep.
And that
Same here.
that reinforces this idea in my head, you know, growing up as an adult individual,
Lacking trust.
independent person, I don't, you know, maybe I don't open the door anymore.
Right.
And for a long time, that's how I did. You know, I put the Ring doorbell on there, and somebody comes and rings it, I can see him. Oh, no, I ain't answering that. You know, like.
Yep.
But now, in this mindset that I'm in here, in this current evolution of me, I open the door, and I've opened the door to so many great relationships and people.
Yeah.
By just taking that step.
Yep.
And the analogy extends to the spiritual awakening. Like, you hear it.
Yeah.
You hear the knock on your door. Open it.
And it's don't forsake yourself.
Don't
forsake.
fear it.
Don't betray yourself. Don't forsake yourself, and don't betray the call.
Yeah.
That's just cool because when I was here, coming here to the template for the open mic night. Oh, Southwest. It's a good company. Like comfortable planes.
Yeah.
To say the least. I mean, I don't know where all their money comes and goes from, but
All domestic flights.
right. Out of all the airplanes I've been on, they've been really nice. When I first flew by myself when I was a kid,
Yeah.
they let me sit in the cockpit, and the guy gave me his pin, and like they let me touch the controls and touch the thing. And it was great.
And now here,
You know.
however many years later,
Right? It's like, thanks,
you like
Southwest.
Southwest.
You're cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're expensive. And I don't always fly them. You know,
Mhm.
it was my grandpa. He paid for the flight. But Anyway,
Yeah, share.
what was something? Oh yeah. So this was like it allowed me to open more doors.
Absolutely.
To connect with more people, especially the feminine.
Uh-huh.
Because especially after, breaking up and always being surrounded by like my roommates who were men, and it's just like I need more of that platonic feminine essence to not just help me, but just it's a therapeutic thing too, but also be more comfortable around it and like prove not just to them, really truly just to prove to myself that I can look at a woman who I feel is either attractive or not attractive and not lust over them.
Yes.
Just like how you said earlier. And being like, hey, wow, I do find them attractive, but I just want to grab a coffee with them and just, what's your life like?
Yeah.
How do you create stuff?
Yeah.
What are your ideas? Like,
what is your being? Like,
yeah.
who are
Who's
you?
your essence?
Yeah,
Let's share actual presence.
Yes.
Let's share space. And knowing that it's intentional, it's genuine. Like women just come to me and they're like, hey, you want to hang out? I'm like, do you have an ulterior motive? Like, this is sure.
But that's an amazing
And
boundary check
for
you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So, opening more doors, man. It's been
Yeah.
great. Like, and I
love
can't
that
wait.
for you.
This has been like a double door. I feel.
Yeah,
Who knows what I can only imagine what hallway this is going to be opening up to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
You're going to be here. Our paths are going to
Yeah,
cross
and
again.
I would love to be on again, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be your fifth guest. I'll wait. Of course, have more guests.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
or I'll be a repeat guest. I don't care, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be on
just
2, 4, 5, 6. I
Yeah.
don't care. As many as you need.
But
yeah, I'll
please
share. It kind of relates to the mission.
Okay.
Manifesting my deepest ethereal dreams to material ground level reality and uplifting them to the galactic skies of infinity. Serving raw realities of love and truth upon society's table. Trampling down the system and chanting down ignorance. Praising all of creation for as long as I am able. That is the mission. I can't stop and I won't stop. And even after I drop, no conditions or restrictions, for my efforts vibrate throughout eternity afar. For I trod the unmarked terrain of mankind's heart.
The unmarked terrain of mankind's heart. What does that mean to you?
The aspects of the people's hearts that they have either left unexplored or forgotten. Because we all the heart, I feel, love is a journey. Love is a travel. The heart is a map, I feel. It's a map. Listening to the heart is a map of how to truly cultivate compassion for yourself and others.
Yeah.
To truly listen to your intuition and act upon giving that person $1 when they need it, because you don't need it. Come on.
Right.
Go out and give that person a plate of food because you have extra and they really need it more than you. They haven't eaten in 2 days. You just ate 2 hours ago.
It's probably
Those
going
sort of
to
things.
go to waste in your fridge.
Exactly. Don't be so vain.
Yeah.
Unaccustom your heart to attaching to material things, because even at the end of your life, it's your own material body that you must give. So, and traveling the heart, traveling the maps of the heart is what I do. I was trying to help people. Hey, remember that area over there that you forgot about when you were a child? That's still in you. You can still be innocent. You can still be curious. You can still love someone who hurt you. You can still smile in the face of fear. Children do it all the time. That's why I love working at the job that I have. I work at Belmont Park in Mission Beach as a ride operator. Currently, hopefully in the process of getting a higher paid job or a higher paid position within the company. So that's great. But the safety, both physically and mentally, is the priority for me, for the children.
Yes.
There's
giving them that safe space to
Exactly.
enjoy life.
Yeah, and have fun and have a safe, fun time.
Yeah.
Because there's the things I see. Parents, they're holding their kids while they're crying. Oh, they're fine. I'm like, no, sorry, I have to let you guys off the ride, because at that point,
that's so noble.
You're traumatizing your
Yes.
child. You're psychologically damaging them. Don't get me wrong. There's a certain age, it's like if between the ages of 2 and 7, that's the formative years that are very important for a child of ingesting emotional responses, of ingesting what they do fear and what they do love, and understanding the frameworks of the mind and communication and stuff. So when you're putting them through situations to where you're forcing your child to be scared, they're not going to trust. They're not going to trust you.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to trust you over time, at least.
Yeah. That keyword forcing.
Yeah.
It's a huge and can be very subtle difference between
Yeah.
forcing and encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
And
of course,
I appreciate
like,
that you do that.
You know, like teenagers or someone who's like 10 or above, and you know, like, you're okay.
Mhm.
You're like, you'll be all right. You know, tell me if you're old enough to tell me to get off the ride if you're really scared.
Right.
And what's nice is like the other day, I had an older woman come up to me after the ride, and she was like 50-something years old, and she,
Yeah.
or probably in her 60s. She said, you know, out of all my 56 years of ever riding rides throughout this entire country, I have never once heard a ride operator tell the children, because this is something I've been adapting,
Mm-hmm.
to tell them that when they feel sick or scared, to give a thumbs down and that he would let them off. I've never once had that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for the care you give for the children.
Yes.
And I said, that's my priority. My priority is their safety, not the parents' spending satisfaction.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to participate in trauma.
Yes.
I'm not going to participate in damaging your child mentally. I can't.
Yes.
I will not do it. I don't care how mad you get at me. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah.
I have the authority on that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And that's what I appreciate about you.
your
because
kid's too short to ride the ride. Sorry. It's like, yeah, but it's their birthday. Like, I care about their life, not their, not your satisfaction.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can get your money back if you really want, dude. Like, don't worry about it.
But
I'm not-
it's literally, you're thinking deeper than that.
I have to.
And,
I have to.
And that's the embodiment piece, right? It's
Mhm.
not just when you put the
It's
the
almost
garment on.
it's almost inevitable for me. Like,
Yeah.
I can't not do it. And
Yeah.
it's cool because of my job. I can wear my glasses and my rings and stuff, and like the kids know me.
Yeah.
They know me for the heart guy.
Yeah.
I'm the glasses guy. You know, I've had people recognize me outside of working my garments. Real quick, I live in Lake like La Mesa area.
Yeah.
I was walking around Lake Murray like I do on my days off to
Mhm.
you know to just stay active. You know, and I was walking past the Starbucks that's there, and you know I have my glasses on, just wearing my regular clothes,
Mhm.
and there's this group of teenagers that are at the Starbucks, and I have my earphones in, and they're like, hey, hey, hey. And I look over, and then I hear them say, yeah, that's him. Oh, my God, that's him. And then, like, synchronistically, bro, like, every single one of them, we love you!
Love
And
it.
I damn near collapsed and started crying. Like, I was...
That's
you
the
know,
energy you give out.
yeah,
that
man,
you're
I'm like, oh,
receiving
my
back,
God,
yeah.
you know, and I'm like, I love you guys too. Have a great day. Be safe. And one of the older boys in the group are like, do you want anything, man? Can we get you anything? And myself, I'm not much of a coffee person. I really don't like Starbucks. I don't like it's not the quality. I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
I'm more of a Dunkin' Donuts kind of guy. I'm from upstate New York. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
One of the group homes I lived in was literally right next to a Dunkin' Donuts. So I'd be able to go there before school, before the van would take us to school, and they'd sometimes give me a free coffee.
It's
you know?
that childhood comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so but I don't know. I haven't drank coffee in like years. I'll probably go there sometime. But yeah, I told them, no, I'm okay. Thank you so much. But hope you have a great day. And like, man, like that was like a highlight. Like, wow, like I'm impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Because you question that about yourself, I'm sure.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
How impactful
Absolutely.
am I really being?
Yeah, and
You know?
and when you question that, you maybe lose yourself too. Because
Yeah.
I mean, that's like nihilism right there.
Yeah.
Does it matter what I do? If you lose vision of your impact and your power in this world, you will fall into some.
You'll have a lack of impact.
Dark.
Yep.
Ooh.
And so that's why it's like beautiful confirmations like that.
Yeah.
You know, I had a horrifying confirmation the other day too. I was walking to work and I saw a dead cat on the sidewalk, but not just any dead cat.
Okay.
I could notice it had a couple stab wounds.
I
I noticed that the neck was ringed. It was all like someone really grabbed it and its eyes were popped out of its head.
Oh my God.
And
Where is
ants-
this at?
This is actually on Park, right on my street,
Oh,
on the
damn.
sidewalk. And you know, I went to the property of the house. And I was like, hey, just want to let you guys know because there's a dead cat on your side of the sidewalk, and you know, it wasn't theirs or anything, but it was a reminder to me of this is why I do what I do in the most vile sense.
Yeah.
Because no animal did that. And I know that's a reminder of this is how vile humans can be. Don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spread love, spread light, but don't forget the darkness that you even came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't get caught up in all the love, light, happiness, peace, because there is darkness in this world. And we need to acknowledge it. We need to act upon it. We need to expose it. And we can't ignore it. Because the more we ignore it, the more it grows.
Understand.
And then the more blissful we become because we're ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes life is, we can't be blissful all the time. We're not supposed to be blissful all the time.
I like that.
I wish we could be blissed out all the time, like Sadhguru would say. I wish we could be blissed out all the time, but like you can't. You have action, you have progress, you have priorities, you have goals you need to do, you have people you need to attend to, you have food you need to eat, you got clothes you need to make or buy, like, yeah.
We are not the end.
Never will be.
No, I don't believe there is one. It's yeah.
Thank you for everything, man. This has been great.
It's been
I
amazing.
really look forward to speaking again because, man, I could talk for hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to read more. I'd love to just, man. I'd love to keep on connecting.
No, absolutely.
I think this is a perfect spot for this.
No, yeah, this is amazing. I'm very glad. I was apprehensive about it because I wasn't sure, but no, it's perfect.
I was thinking hopefully one day we could do it inside and show the inside of the place.
Oh, yeah, that would have been dope.
I know that's a little more like sound iffy, but depending on how the traffic is,
Yeah.
That'd be great. I think I thought it'd be really cool, like have a shot of like us, but then have like the entrance in the background, so it's like you're seeing the flow of life as we're talking. People coming and going, and all, because there's really interesting people that come through here.
Absolutely. When we had the guitar in the background.
Yeah, that was great.
And this gentleman over here.
Yeah, talking this beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
Again, I heard him earlier. And I was like, hey man, looks like you're getting your priorities done, man. That's what's up. And
I love it.
I love it, and it's progress all around.
Yeah. No, this has been great. This has been amazing. Thank you for sharing this moment and this relaunching, this journey, this moment in my life.
Likewise, man. This is great. I can't wait to spread this out, man. I have so many people that I'm going to be sending, like all the from beginning to end, even before we even started. Like, if you can, just send me the whole unedited everything.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can. I mean,
absolutely.
I know phones aren't the best with like data transferring or filing and stuff, but if it happens to be in clips or something, so be it, man. I'd love to spread it around to my friends, share it to my uncle, Instagram, Facebook, all of it.
For sure. So to close this out, I guess just let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, man.
What your mission, maybe like a mission statement. What a little on the spot, but like if
I got you. Let me think. Well, of course, first you can always find me on my Facebook, where I just journal on my Facebook. I decided years ago to not just journal personally because my thoughts are ideas that I need and that I want people to relate and connect to. And that's the intentions of my ponderings and my thoughts. And so on my Facebook, Orion McAllister, that's mostly just my ponderings and thoughts and ideas. And I post a lot of song lyrics of the music I listen to with pictures for relevance and topics. My Instagram is Orion's Cosmic Love. And then I also do have a PayPal, but that's just if people wish to donate. I have a job. It's just simply anything to go towards any extra creative endeavors or financial stability for extra stuff. Right. That is Orion's Cosmic Creation at PayPal.
Yeah, I saw your post about that, and it was a conflict in your mind.
I was like, I'm not sure if I should do it, but I was like, well, enough people have asked me if I take donations, and I'll say no because I do it because I love it, and they'll here, take $10, here's $20. I'm like, all right, there's no harm in just offering it out if people want to.
And they're supporting your creations.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, I always give, I haven't on this one, but my newer signs, I'm always posting like my Instagram and my PayPal. But
that's how I found
for my intention, like I always have the Instagram label much bigger than the PayPal.
Okay.
Because I don't care about the money.
Yeah.
If it comes, it comes. I want the message out there.
Absolutely. So, the money will find you. The resources will find you.
It always does.
Just focus on the mission.
And the mission is to spread love. The mission is to remind people that impossible equals I'm possible, that the phrase is in the word. The mission is radical acceptance of each other. The mission is to break the illusion of separation. The mission is to love and to connect and relate and to forget to separate.
I love it.
There was one other thing you wanted me to repeat.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered.
I don't remember it, but I remember you wanted me to repeat something.
It's the.
Was it something that I think it was? I remember.
My words are my bond.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, man. When it comes to love and mission, and just when it comes to life and principle, and morality and ethics, word is bond, and action is the seal. I love you all. You're all worthy of being loved and being here. You're all worthy of conquering your struggles because you are here. Communicate to relate, to remember that you are not alone. Breathe deep. Live kindly and take your time.
I'm
Be
proud
kind.
of you.
Be kind.
Super proud of you.
I'm proud of you, man. This is great.
I love your mission, and genuinely, I love your being.
Thank you.
Who you are and what
Thank
you
you.
embody, and your mission.
Thank you.
Thank you for experiencing this with me.
Of course.
And we will connect again.
We will.
Thank you,
Michael.
Orion McAllister.
I love you, Michael, man. Have a great one.
You too.